Hi folks, and welcome to another Your Linux Life video. A short while ago we went over graphics, and now we're going to go over audio. It's quite a big subject. I'm not running from a script and there's quite a few bits and pieces to look at, so my apologies if I fluff anything up. We're going to start with CD recording. I've inserted a blank CD, and you can probably see it if I zoom in on here under the devices with the eject icon, and you can also see it on the desktop, blank CDR disk. Now, for the last few years the Linux images have been coming with a lot of software pre-installed for you, but that situation does change a little now and then, so this software may be installed, it may not be. We're going to go to Sound and Video, and we're going to have a look at Brasero. That's been the default preferred software for a number of various builds for quite a few years now. You'll see it's quite familiar. When you start it up, you've got create a new project options, audio for audio CD, which we're going to use, data project, which will create just your bog standard CD with files on. Video project, you can create a video DVD or an SVCD. I haven't used that really, and in order to use that you may need some specific codecs or other software loaded. Not 100% sure. You've got a disk copy function which can take a CD DVD and either burn it to another one, or you can burn it to a file. And lastly, you've got burn image. If you've already got a file of a CD that you've taken previously, you can just burn that image out to a fresh CD. We're just going to go for an audio project, and we're just going to drag a load of my files in here. You can see it's calculated it. Not enough free disk space. We have the various tracks, titles, and we can drag them around if we want to change the order. On the right hand side we have the length of the tracks. Hyperblast Redux, that's not one of mine, let's get that out of there. Down the bottom we can see blank CDR disk, 27 minutes of free space, and it's giving us a nice sort of graphical display. Right, estimated project size, it's telling us which one we're using. We can also click on that to record it to an image file if we wish, and we can specify where that's going to go to, but we're going to actually burn a disk. So just checking this stuff. Yeah, you'll notice that in some cases it's already picked up the artist name from the MP3 information that's gone in before. We'll take a look at that again in something else. What have we got in here? Relatively simple under project. Edit. Split track. Insert a pause. So if we go to there and I say insert a pause, what'll happen? Aha, there we go. A pause of 2 seconds. We're going to delete that. Split track. You can split it and pick your point where you want to split it and slice. Split track manually, or parts with an equal length, or that sort of thing. Or split track for each silence. That's quite a nice little function there. I'm not. So you've got a slice preview list and all that sort of good stuff. There are plugins that you can add in. I don't use any. Vertical or horizontal layout. Pause. Show the side panel, so you can browse the file system and use that to select and add your files if you wish. Tools, eject, blank. I think that blank is a function that you use if you use CD rewritables. So if you've got a CD rewritable, you can use that to erase it for another rewrite. Personally, I don't use rewritables. I've had too many issues with them in the past. And you've got a cover editor. Now, how that works, I'm not 100% sure. yeah, I think there's functions in here to be able to take the tracks in. Select all background properties, pass. But yeah, you can then print that out however you make it. Background properties, yada yada. Yeah, click on things, adjust the titles. How do you adjust these things? Yeah, cover editor. Okay, type those things in there. I'm not 100% sure how that works, really. I think that's actually working from the files and you select what you want in there before you actually select the cover editor. I'm not 100% sure how that works, but you've already got the contents. Brasero help. Creating a cover. If you're creating a project, finishing, then you can access the cover from close it, your changes lost. Choose the formatting you wish to use. When you first see it, you will not be able to click on any of them. Click on the cover you want to work on to be able to use those. Okay, I'm not going to go into that because I've never used the cover editor, but it exists. So we're just going to burn this project out. We've got the burn options, maximum speed options, burn the image directly without saving it to the disk. That will obviously just go straight to the CD rather than trying to create an image and then writing the image, which is a bit safer. There's a function called use burn proof, which has existed for a while to help decreasing the risk of failures. You can simulate it before you burn it, and you can leave the disk open to add other files later. Now, how this works is, let's say you write 5 files that's 50 gig and you leave it open. What you can do later is add more files to it. If you were to overwrite a file that is already on there, let's say you were to write the same 5 files out after changing them, and they're still 50 gig or 50 meg, whatever, then the usage, you don't actually overwrite them. They are added, so you'd have used a total of 100 meg of the CD space. It just alters the table of contents. So it's because it's optical and it's write once, you can't actually overwrite anything, but through programming you can add more to it and overwrite the table of contents with a new updated table of contents. It's like adding some more pages to a book and then updating the contents to just refer to those extra pages and not the original pages, if that makes any sense. Duh. Right. It's telling us how much we've got free, 5.9 gig free in the temp location. You can burn several copies or just one. We're just going to burn the one, and that's going to start to record. I've never really got into burning DVDs or the rest of that stuff, but it is there if you want to investigate that. How it works with various formats I'm not sure, because obviously you need the correct codecs in order to translate any video into the MPEG-2. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, I'm sure there's enough help out there. We're going to go through a few bits and pieces in a bit. So here we go. You can see the estimated drive speed, and it's trying to protect itself as it's burning. That's going to take a few minutes. Now there's a number of other programs. Some of them I use as my default. Sound and video. You'll see QMMP. That's what I typically use to play things back with. And what can I say really? If you used Winamp of old, then QMMP will probably be familiar to you. I'm just going to fire it up. And as you can see, you have the usual dockable playlist, which you can switch. You've got the equalizer there, which you can also turn off if you're not using it. You can dock various things. You have your main control. And let's just put this back in one piece. And you've got the usual things in here. Barge was the last track I was listening to. You can also do various bits and pieces. Just waiting for this to write out. I'm going to lower the volume of this if I can before we even start. Where is the volume control? That one, I think. Because I don't want to blow it to smithereens. The other thing that we're going to do is bring up the sound settings. Because one of the things you've got here is applications, and that one is terminal, I think, which I think is controlling the microphone. Yeah, maybe, who knows. Right, that's done. Create a cover, make more copies, or close. We're just going to close that. Right, our CD is burnt, and we're just going to eject it. And oh, it's ejected automatically, so we're just going to put it back in. And it should come up again. You do also have autoplay options. I typically turn mine off, and I think it's under preferences. Some of these things are named different things on different Linux distributions, and over time, by the way, I'm planning on looking at a few different builds preferences. Where is it? Preferred applications, startup applications. Where is it? Let's just go into this one, and we'll no, I need the control panel really. Preferences, color, that normally takes us back to all settings. Preferred applications, I think that's one of them. Preferred applications, you can select what you want. Mail, I have Thunderbird, Web, Firefox, Text, Music, QMMP, there, too many M's, Video, VLC I tend to use, Photos, Gwenview, and a terminal. You also have the tab for removable media. I have Never Prompt, but you can have various options, and you can have various bits and pieces to open various things. It's up to you. We're going to right click on the audio CD, and we're going to open it, in my case, with QMMP. So here we go, it's going to do something. Here we go, the ALSA plugin has started, and there it goes. It's juddering a bit, I wonder why. But you can see it's pretty much loaded up the titles, that now it's gone a bit smoother. And for each application that's actually running audio, you can, in the sound, adjust the volume. So you can do it all dynamically. The tracks have all loaded, I suppose in alphabetical order, which, I'm not sure how we alter that, to be perfectly honest. Actions, track details, that's something that we're going to have to look into. But anyway, you can do the usual thing, jump to a particular track, drag them around, all that good stuff. You got an equalizer. I'm now just going to pretty much kill that. QMMP, you can also pick a track and open it directly, and you can also put in QMMP in your applications. If it's not listed, you can just go to other application, and it should actually be in there, and you can actually, when you select it, add it to the list or set it as the default. And you can also remove things from recommended applications if you wish. And you can also drag and drop, so if I just click on that one, pause that, and you can just drag things in to the playlist. Not bad, fairly standard, as you'd expect. So yeah, it's got an equalizer, the same things as you'd expect. You've got different modes for playback, odds and sods, various things. Right, next up under sound and video is EasyTag. Now EasyTag is something that's used for tagging MP3 files, and you can do stuff in batch if you want. So there we have these various odds and sods. Let's just get rid of that. Delete files. Yeah, do I want to delete it? Yep, gone. And I think it's now gone from there as well. Okay, so you can click on one of them, and as you can see, the tag images come up on the right. You've also got a few different options under here. Invert file selections. You can actually find the files, select files, force save, edit, select all, remove tags, preferences, view, list by tag, list by property, browser, miscellaneous, yeah, go. Okay, so we're just going to select this lot, and we're going to how does this work? Oh, you can also edit the images if there are any. How do you do this? CDDB search, generate a playlist, view by artist and album, remove tags, scanner, sort list, reload directory. Yeah, okay. MP3 file, open. Now how it works is you're supposed to put some, manage this somehow, log, show scanner, tag and file name scan, fill tag, rename file, process fields. So this is the fill tag, which is %A, which is the artist name, %B, blank, %N, which is the track name, T, yeah, scanner preferences. Okay. The long story short is I have used this to rename the tags on an awful lot of files. It's a fairly powerful tool. However, with any powerful tool, it takes a while to learn it, and I really encourage you to go onto YouTube or something and search for some instructions on how to use this. It's one of those things that if you're using it fairly often, it'll do you proud. Pardon me. How do I rename these? Yeah, it can get a bit complicated. Using this is beyond the scope of this video here. Fortunately for me. But it does exist, and you can just load up EasyTag, fairly straightforward. Yeah, we'll quit that. Some of the other programs are SoundJuicer. Now SoundJuicer is one of a number of extractors, and it's the one that I normally use. It will retrieve the track listing, and it should retrieve things. Right, couldn't find the audio disc on Music Brains, so it's actually looking up the disc and trying to pull back the track titles. As it can't, it's pulled them off the disc. Title, artist, you can edit these if you wish somewhere, and it should be able to do it. Oh yeah, you just click in it and it will use those. You have preferences, a number of them: which device, eject after doing it, which folder do you want it to put the rips in, folder hierarchy. You can select from various bits: album artist, album title. You can file name. I tend to have track title - track artist, but it doesn't allow me, so I typically have to do things manually. strip special characters, which helps on some different operations, and output format. Now you can choose your output format. You can choose MPEG layer 3 if you wish. I tend to extract in OGG Vorbis. I just prefer that format over MPEG layer 3. That's just how I like it, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to give you any options there. So, yeah. There should be, I'm pretty sure that there should be some other preferences for the format. Yeah, FLAC MPEG 4. Yeah, that's a bit odd. I would have liked there to be some more detailed options. But either way, you just hit the extract button and away it will go, and it will start taking off the files for you. Right, so we're just going to cancel that, and yeah. What else is in here? Right, sound and video. Video, SoundJuicer, sound converter. You can actually convert things between various formats. For example, I can take all of these, drag them in. Now, here you have some preferences. Same folder as the input file or a different folder. How to name the files. You can go artist dash title. I still prefer to go title dash artist, but you can go for a custom file name pattern in here. Replace all the messy characters. So remove all characters except letters, digits, and a few others. Format. Again, which one you like. OGG Vorbis. Quality, you have various options here. You can go for the OGA extension if you wish. You can resample if you wish. Force mono output, and you can limit the number of parallel jobs. If we go to MP3, you have bitrate mode. Quality, insanely high. Yeah, right. Target bitrate is 320 bps, and it's telling you the target bitrate for the various options here. Resample again if you wish. So you have a number of different options, and it can do all of those. You just hit the button and away it goes and converts. Now, let's have a look. I think that's a chunk of it. Banshee is another player. Oops, sorry. Right, Banshee is another player. Apologies for the quick edit there, but I bumped the microphone. Oops. Alright, Banshee is another player. Apologies for the quick edit there, but I bumped the microphone. It was in Ubuntu for a while. It was the favoured music player, but it fell out of favour. That does happen even within Linux. The last tool I want to show you is Audacity, and if you use the likes of Goldwave under Windows, you can think of Audacity as the equivalent for that. Audacity is, I believe, cross-platform, so it should also work on Windows, and I think there's a Mac version as well. Now, this can handle quite a number of different file formats, all supported Audacity projects. WAV, AIF, OGG Vorbis, FLAC, MP3, blah blah, as well. Yeah, it does quite a few bits. So we're just going to go to where are we going to go? We're going to go music. We're going to go me. We're going to go that one. This will be very familiar to people. You also have a number of various other bits and pieces. Up the top here, you have your input and output, microphone and output volume. If you have multiple sound cards, they'll be listed here, and the various channels. Yeah, you can pick from where you want to record. Oh, sorry, that's playback. That's input device, which we're going by the default, and you can select how many channels you want to input from. The usual stuff is around here: pause, playback, stop, forward, minus, record. You have the selection tool, you can use an envelope tool, draw tool, that's quite handy, zoom, time shift and multi-tool mode. You also have some controls here. You can mute, change it to a solo, volume and balance sliders, and also close the track. The reason for some of this is because you can have multiple files open at the same time. Like if I open that one, whoops, what have I actually done there? I've actually opened 2 copies, and what I want to do is actually open the pair of them in the same one. Right. Save changes before closing. No. What happens if you wind up with multiple recordings? You'll wind up with a number of sets, each underneath each other, stacked. And what that's useful for, it is just like sort of video editing, only with audio. And that's useful if you want to carry multiple effects and fade them into each other. I'm not sure if I actually have a project open. Do I have a project under music? I don't think I do, but anyway, we shall try. What happens if I do it this way? Change from. Yes, there you can see it. It's gone in, and I should be able to move the position of this somehow. No, I don't want to zoom, I want to move. Let's zoom this out. No. There is a way of moving these. Is that it? Nearly? Or have I unfortunately linked it? Ugh. Well, if I played these now, it would play them both at the same time. In fact, change from hasn't opened correctly. Yes, it has. Yeah, you could hear them on top of each other, and you can move these. I'm not sure how. There's a mode to do it. Am I in the right mode? Draw, time shift, pass. But yeah, if you're recording, let's say you're making a makeshift radio show, you can record your announcements and then edit them in, so to speak, with that kind of tool. Or it may actually be under this. I'm not 100% sure. Haven't done it for quite some time. But anyway, what I use this mostly for is topping and tailing things. You can just select bits like that and cut them out, and I just top and tail music like that. Let's just undo those. You can also zoom in on sections, and I've used this for recordings. If you take it right the way in, you then enter edit mode. You can see that each of these are now dots, that is each individual sample, and if you enter edit mode, you can actually edit the curve yourself. It's actually quite useful, because if there's if I've sampled some vinyl, for example, and there's a pop or a click, I can just obviously with a more steady hand and more zoom than this, I can just flatten it out and yeah, undo the click. Yeah, let's just undo that. It's one of those processes that takes time, really. Let's just zoom that out. You have all sorts of effects. You have amplify, and when you go, it'll immediately tell you what the amplification is in order to bring it into line. You can, the new peak amplitude is nothing, because there's nothing to amplify in there. There is a point at which it is already amplified. Didn't I delete that? Oh well. Yeah, so if we go effect amplify, it tells us that we can amplify by 0.2 to take it at the peak amplitude. And then we can just update that bar and preview if we wanted. We could, if we wanted to push it, allow clipping. And there you go. You have auto duck, bass and treble, change pitch, change speed, change tempo, click removal. It does have a click removal function in it. Compressor, echo, equalization, fade in, fade out, leveler, phaser, repair, sliding timescale pitch. Oh, wow, you've got to be kidding. There's some plugins in here. Adjustable fade, low pass, high pass. Oh my good grief. There's more stuff in here than I will ever use. You can generate chirp, DTMF tones, noise, silence, tone, click. Oh good grief. Add track. That's it. Add audio track, time track, label track. Yeah, mix and render. So you can mix them all in to one track, resample, remove, mute, unlock, align tracks, start, oh god, sync lock tracks, okay, transport, overdub, oh good grief, all this stuff I have not got a clue. Mixer board, what the heck's that? Right, mixer board for the different tracks. Okay. Right. It's pretty powerful. You can either store a project as an Audacity project, which means you can reload the project itself in, or you can export the results, and you can export the whole thing as a number of different files, and you have various options depending on which output format you select. Pretty powerful. There's more stuff in here than I'd ever thought. Pilot spectrum, find clipping, beat finder. Ooh, beat finder, threshold percentage 65. Never used this. There's loads of stuff in here. Oh right. Ooh. Wow. Okay. Right. It's right, okay. Regular, interval, label, silence finder. Okay. Long story short, it's pretty powerful. I think you're going to have to watch a few YouTube videos or whatever in order to get into this. But for free software, wow. No, don't save the changes. Whatever you do, don't save the changes. Right, sound output. You can choose the device that you want to play sound through, and this will direct all output to that device. I will not change any of this because this is currently the HDMI output is going to the recorder right now, and if I switched it, right, you have balance, fade, subwoofer. You can test the sound on that particular device. You've got a range of different options depending on which device you've actually chosen. Input, you can see we're taking from the SPDIF now. Digital input, you have the input volume. You can just yeah. Yes, I've got to watch that. You've got the overall output volume. You have various sound effects for the alert volume, different bits and pieces. I don't typically alter those at all. And as you saw before, you can alter settings for particular applications that are running. Typically I've found that Linux has responded to any keyboard or other device options that have volume buttons on them. So typically the keyboard now, it's captured and the adjustment is made. Down with the volume button you have down here, if you click it, left click it, you'll come up to here, and you've instantly got various bits and pieces, and you can change the output device quite easily, and there you go. And note that it's actually cut a number of them out because it knows that a few of them seem to potentially not be connected, or sound settings will just take you into where we were. We'll just close that, and you can launch the music player. If you do have a music player running, then the controls for that usually pop up. I'll just come away from that and start something in something which is linked to the system. Other application. What is linked? Banshee, I think, may be linked. Banshee Media Player. We're just going to... Does that appear? Yes, you can see that the player has appeared here. So we can just pause it and adjust it here. We can go on to next track, and it's all under the sound options. It's telling you what's playing and the rest of that. Yeah, Banshee, I don't know what's going to happen with this. Although it's fallen out of favour, it's still around, and you can use it if you like or need something to go through your music list, because it can read the MP3 tags and help sort things out, and bring all your music into the one location. You can do playlists and all the rest of that jazz, recently added, unheard, the stuff that I haven't heard. It does handle videos as well, I believe, but I don't really use this, to be perfectly honest. You can also add in radio stations. How you add them, where you get them from, I don't know. Never really used it. You can also use it to keep track of your podcasts and online media. Last.fm, account details are needed, Internet Archive. I'm not going to even attempt some of this stuff because it might stuff me up in terms of copyright and that sort of thing. Yeah, Banshee is still paused even though I've closed the application. I'd have to close it from here if I wanted to quit the player entirely. And there you go, now it's gone. There are other options, which I typically don't use, and we're just about to investigate some of those now. It's all about searching for things, really, and we're going to go for search Linux MIDI recorder software. Multi-track recording and mixing systems, linuxsound.org. Okay, ooh, Ardor, professional grade multi-track multi-channel hard disk recording, Q Station, Phrenica, Gun Girl sequencer, Soundpal sequencer, KD HD record, Mixmagic Pro Tux. There was one, I think it was called Rose or something. See also the sound file editors section. So typically all it should take really is a search. Just do a search, a web search for something and see what's out there. O-Tractor, an audio MIDI sequencer. I haven't heard of that one. Written in C++ with a Qt framework. Target platform is Linux with a jack audio connection kit. Are the main infrastructures. ALSA for MIDI to evolve as fairly featured Linux desktop audio workstation GUI. That doesn't look too bad. Yeah. That actually looks reasonably powerful, but having said that, anybody can make up some screenshots. The features that I'm seeing in there I recognize from a chunk of MIDI work that I did many years ago. Not that I'd know how to do any of it now. Yeah, so there's definitely some stuff there. Features, yada yada, blah blah. Yeah, requirements, Qt framework, jack audio connection kit, ALSA, libns, libsound file, and lad SPA. Optional, opted in at build time. Yeah, latest release 2016, bang up to date. That was 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Yeah, installation, right. This is where some things get a bit awkward, and it's not until then they get mainstream that they're included in the repositories. Okay, including binaries at qtractor files on sourceforge.net. Now, what typically happens is qtracker actic 076. Okay, these are package files. What tends to happen is that somebody will start a project. It will sometimes they will distribute the source files, and you typically have to make them yourself. Download the source files and run them, install them, and they will build on your machine. If you're lucky, the project gets big enough so they start releasing various bits and pieces. These are for SUSE, source RPM, tar.gz. Yeah, sometimes they will release them as packages, so you just got to download the package and then you can install it by right-clicking on it. When they get bigger, with a bit of luck, they'll be dragged into the repository framework for whatever system you're running. I'm just going to actually go sudo apt-get install qtractor. Oh, yes. Right, yes, we'll have that. Config jackd2. If you want to run it with real-time, Jack needs real-time permissions. Accept it to create the file, giving real-time priority. Yeah, we'll do that. Right, this is getting other packages on top that it needs. It was otherwise known as dependency hell in the old days. You would get hold of a package and it would say, in order for me to run, I need this package, and this package. And then one of those packages would say, I need this package, and blah, blah, all the rest of that stuff. Now, it looks like the processing triggers have failed, but that doesn't look too bad. We should be able to say qtractor. Haha, yeah, the microphone went for a short period. Okay, the MIDI engine could not be started, so I've got to make sure I've got the Jack audio server running jackd. So that would probably be installing that. I'm encountering a little bit of interference here because this seems to be grabbing the audio as well. Wow, right. This is as far as I'm going to go. Track 1, audio, MIDI, foreground, background, plugins. Yeah, this is another one of those things that's going to take a while to get used to. I think it's going to be another learning curve which is beyond this video. In fact, it's a bit beyond me. But if I try and get hold of, what did it say, Jack 2. Okay, jackd, that was the one. That's the daemon. Manual installed already, the newest. I might have to actually start it before starting that, I don't know. Yeah, so there we go for that. That's MIDI. There's definitely multiple options out there. What else? Audio. Linux. Radio. Ham software. What's out there for the radio ham? Ham software for Linux. The DX Zone Amateur Radio Guide. Ooh, okay. Now, I don't know what this software does. I only know that a number of my friends are into ham radio. And, yeah. This is a new language to me. Chirp is a cross-platform, cross-radio programming tool. Works on Windows and Linux and Mac OS. It can program many popular radios and exchange data between them. Okay. Linrad, dunno, defined receiver. Software-defined receiver? How do you get a software-defined receiver? Pileup. Is a CW contest training program. It requires a Sound Blaster or compatible card for Linux and Windows 95. What? Yeah. Long story short, there is stuff out there, and Ham Radio Linux distributions. Andy's Ham Radio Linux. Right. KB10IQ, Andy's Ham Radio Linux. Who knows what's in there? The long story short, on an awful lot of this stuff is you're just going to have to try it and use the search engines. Typically, if you find that you've got problems with a particular piece of software, find the home page for that software. Typically go to the About home, and you'll normally find sometimes it's got the website for the people who are supporting it. In a number of cases they'll have easy to use online forums. However, that's not always the case. Some of them prefer IRC, in which case you need some internet options, internet software. Typically XChat IRC is the best one that I've found to use. Now, warning, XChat IRC, pretty much any IRC, is command driven. It's typically text only. I'm not sure if there are some, well, XChat attempts to bring a little bit of graphic goodness to that, but there's still no getting away from the fact that you need to type in some commands every now and then. You got to know what server you're running on, or what server to connect to. Sometimes you have to issue / commands to put your name in or to choose a nickname. Sometimes you can password protect your nickname if you're on some boards very frequently. And yeah, XChat IRC itself takes a bit of getting used to, but typically if you just do a bit of searching and just do something like IRC command list, you'll come up with the list of internet relay chat commands. Right. Typically / commands. Some of them are admin commands, away. So if you've stepped away from the keyboard, you say away. With a message, provides the server with a message to automatically send and reply to a priv message directed at the user. So you can set private messages to other users on IRC. Send a channel notice message, I think that's an admin command. Connect, die, end cap, error. You know, you've got to learn some commands in there because it is text, but you'll typically find some people there. You'll also find bots in IRC who are there to automatically help you, give you news of the day, whatever goes on. Sometimes with IRC you've got to be a bit patient. As the fan base grows, then typically some more volunteers will be in IRC at different time zones around the world. So, a quick reference to IRC's commands. Oh good grief. Quick reference? You've got to be kidding. Right, MIRC help resources. MIRC is another one. I think this is on Windows. But discussion protocols, yeah, you're getting started. If you're new, we suggest the getting started. You'll need to download it, install it. Yeah, this is Windows software. Run it, all the rest of that stuff. Yeah. Server list, where you are, and all the rest of that stuff. Enter a channel name, and yeah. You may want to see what videos are around for IRC there. Yeah, there you go. That's an example of an IRC window, and you type your text in, and when you press enter it goes to the other people in IRC. This kind of system is good because it's not very heavy, it's not communication heavy, and typically you issue / commands in order to enter the special commands. This one is starting to put some of them on the menu options, but yeah, it takes a bit of getting used to, and yeah, the add commands I think are bots or admins. The pluses may be bots, I'm not sure. Yeah, there's different things to get used to, but IRC is a useful place to get help with packages, or typically with the most common packages. All you typically got to do is take the error message that you've got, slam it into a search engine and do a search, because a lot of times people would have hit the problems that you've hit before, and yeah, I will admit there have been some packages I've used and I've hit problems and I've thought, oh good grief, I'm wasting my time here, and I will move to another package. That's a personal choice, you know, that's part of the adventure and part of sharing various experiences with your friends, colleagues and everyone else, you know. find out which packages work for you and spread the news. And possibly also look out for some how-tos on YouTube or wherever. But I do have to sound the warning. I mean, there was, I'm sure it was Rose something or other MIDI. Let's see if I put in Linux Rose MIDI. Rose Garden, music software for Linux, that was it. There you go, there was another one. Last update, oh, it is current, 29th of February, released another version. You can see it's been going on for quite some time. I first ran it a number of years ago, quite a few years ago. But yeah, it's all a case of trying this software. There's all sorts of different packages out there. See what's best supported. Typically, if I've got a number of different packages that I'm going to wade into, what I'll do is I'll check out the support community and find out just how much support there is for that particular package before I start trying to use it. If there's a good deal of support around, then that's a pretty good indicator that the package is going to last a while, it's going to be around and last me for a while, that it won't just suddenly vanish. So that's a quick look into some audio software, various options that you've got, and yeah. Oh, there is one other thing that I'll show you, and that's if we go into videos. This is actually the video for my channel. Now, if I right click and open that with Audacity, what it does is it loads the file and immediately strips out the video. And then you can edit that, so you can even just load video files in Audacity and it'll just load the music for you. There are a number of quite nice, neat little tricks hidden away, but it's going to take that ultimate thing, that ultimate resource, time. Well, I hope you've found this useful, and I'll catch you later on the next video. Bye for now.